Hi. Okay, so I am going to apologize. I have been MIA. And I really should do a video on my Beyonce experience. So I'll do that tomorrow. I can pull that off tomorrow. I have all of the videos and the pictures and all of that. And I think that would be a really cool little thing to do. But in the meantime, let me I decided to put it all in one video instead of having two videos. Because really, I'm gonna be honest, this reunion wasn't that deserving of two videos. So Sherry, okay, so Sheree, I'm gonna go through it as quickly as possible, but I am gonna say this straight off the rip. Off the rip. I think we are being conned. And I'm gonna tell you how. And I'm gonna tell you why. We are getting played. I just finished watching. Okay, so I have watched the interview. Let me go through the list of everything that I've interviewed. I have watched the interview with Courtney. And on Kandi's show, I have watched the interview with Drew's sister. I have watched what else have I watched? Is there anything I'm missing? I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah. I think those are and I've read all the little tweets going from Ralph trying to say that he is trying to make it seem as if that Drew is completely still lying and everything else. I think we do have to ask a legit question. If you think that your spouse is that much of a liar, and you also believe not only is she a liar, but you also believe that so much that she lies that you're warning other people of how bad she lies, right? This is what we're supposed to believe. You feel that she's a horrible liar and that you feel this way, right? So if you're going to tell me and the rest of the public that she is this big of a liar, and to the point that you have to warn other people that you just meet that she is a liar, why do you want to stay married to her? Okay, I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure out why would you want to stay married to someone like this? It's antithetical that you would want to stay married to a person that you feel so strongly about that you're going to warn people before they really encounter her and deal with her, so much so like it's nonsensical. So I think we're getting played. Okay, so I'm gonna start. Sheree is talking about the kid that Bob introduced at the party in reunion part one, and um Bob is a jerk. She says Bob is a jerk, but she claims that she doesn't really care. It doesn't seem like that. She's saying that was the first time that Martell and Bob met. Sheree and Martell are supposedly not together anymore because he had too much drama. Girl, he's on a whole nother show wearing a whole nother wedding ring, talking about trying to get back with his ex-wife while he's also simultaneously having sex with coleslaw. Okay. Whatever. Uh, there's this whole debate about how Drew and Kandi says that Sheree had this picture and is looking like her. Okay. Kenya is upset that Marlo was kicked from the door in contempt, and so they're not divorced yet. They're still going back and forth. To this day, they're still going back and forth, and they're appearing in court. She brings a subpoena. Andy is like, "This is blank." So Kandi, of course, I mean Kenya posts this on um online so that you can kind of see her stuff. I think it's ridiculous. She claims that uh Marlo specifically asked text Mark for dirt. And Mark said this. My thing is I can't trust Mark either. And if you believe that all of this conversation was happening behind and she was trying to do this 2 years later, I don't understand why you would even be remotely cool with her at all. But I do think Marlo would do it. So there's that. Andy makes a nice little dig saying Sheree doesn't pay bills, by the way. Okay. So Kandi goes through this whole thing about you didn't pay the designer. And so I've also listened to the designer talking about the fact that he did all this work. He's still waiting to get a check because he hasn't gotten a check. I ain't doing nothing. And this is the reason why you have She by Sheen stuff. By the way, Marlo and Sheree issues this newsletter. Let me see if this is up. That's what I plan on doing. Sheree newsletter for Kandi first. Okay. So I also listened to the Speak on It by Kandi, the latest one, and she began to go through a laundry list of all the things that she was doing and the fact that some of it was being filmed, that she was doing, but they chose not to show it. So but the only reason why she's like, I'm not upset as much as like Kenya is upset with them not showing her life, is primarily because she chucks it up to that's part of the game. There's a story that wants to be told. Clearly, they don't want to tell this part of the story. And so, therefore, it is what it is. And I'm trying to think that Sheree is supposed to have this, what do you call it? This newsletter talking about Kandi Burruss, but I'm not sure, and it's supposed to be up and still going. And I am trying to find it, but it appears that I can't find it. So let me see. Let's see about the website. Because I think, and then Candy's like, wait a second. Oh, she is. She did. Oh, she did, y'all. She could not took this kind of energy. I wish she put this kind of energy into something more constructive. Um, okay. Um, bro, she did. Okay, so Kandi said on her thing that y'all better what did she say? She said that I'm gonna sue you. So, and Sheree, she has to be bringing it. People make jokes about her not having any money. She has to be bringing in some money because they would have took the house by now. So it appears that she does. Let's look. So is this the homepage? Okay, fresh off the press. Sign up below to get a full copy. She News Volume 1. I am not signing up. Purposes. Okay. So I'm going to be the person who gets sucks on the grammar. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes, comma, such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, education, and research. Research. Okay. So she really I wonder who did the writing. Is it how is this, you know what? This is made in it looks like this is made. Where's the rest of the pages? It looks like it's made in, what do you call it? Canva. But I don't understand. Where are the pages? You can't click on nothing? Sign up below to get the full copy. Oh, fine, I'll sign up. Let's see. Check my inbox. I'm gonna say that this is whack. Let's see if it's actually. Please do not tell me she has 2 posts. Wow. She does have an Instagram dedicated to this. I'm gonna say though that Kandi should sue. I absolutely think she should sue. Let's see if it came. Okay. I got a subscription. I got to confirm my subscription. Let's see. I'm subscribed. I'm going to start receiving emails. Let's see if it came through. Before we send you an email, okay, it's well, we'll see if the email comes by the time. Let's see if the email comes by the time I'm done. Okay, that's whack, and Kandi should sue. Okay, so Sheree is like, you need, they get into this whole rip about the body and you look good and Sheree, I look good, you can never, and all this other stuff. And Kandi's talking about you jacking up your face and you got your nose and she clean, da, 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 and all this body work. And Sheree's like, but you got your body done. And I mean, it's ridiculous. Drew said that it was top tier shooting with Kandi and Todd and apologizes for her little jokes about the fact that she won't work for anything below Lifetime. Sheree makes a kind of quiet, I heard she got paid $10,000. And then so Marla was like, so you got paid $10,000. Okay, y'all. So I guess it is. Oh no, it is not. Okay. And so then Kandi's like, she got paid way more than $10,000. Okay, y'all. Okay, so here we are. So, oh, I see. What they did was they just pulled videos and pictures off the website, so it makes it harder to sue. Oh, this isn't reporting. This is just taking snaps and pictures. And I hope she doesn't try to sell this, because if she does try to sell this, then I absolutely think that she could get some wow. I don't know. I think they need to talk to an attorney, because I don't know if you have the ability to repost. Some of this is reposting other people's local news, like CNN, taking a snippet of CNN because the name CNN is still here. And that's from 2020. It's 2023. This local news channel, and then I don't even know what this is supposed to be. What is this supposed to be? And then she tags. Okay, so this whole fight over the tags, and then Kandi actually wears this in her latest video. This whole thing with tags, it tags is Kandi's Kandi's show. I mean Kandi's store, boutique. And they're saying, but Kandi's like, I admit that this is not her original. She's reselling other people's fashion. And they're saying that there's a cheaper place that you can purchase it. I think that is a legitimate, that's not a criticism, because what Sheree is doing is she's taking these particular items, she's putting her name on it and reselling it for like 5 times the price. I like this dress though. I think I'd rock that dress. I don't like this dress, but it looks good. This one looks better on her. This one actually looks better than this one, but I totally would rock this dress though. Anyway, that's not the point. I think that this is a very bottom barrel newsletter. As a person who writes newsletters, as a person who has been trained to be a journalist, as a person who's been a researcher, as a person who's written articles, as a person who's written a book, this is tacky. Just putting it out there. And she should put this energy to something else. Moving on. We get back into this whole thing about Kandi saw Drew kiss LaToya. Everyone says that this happened. Drew still lying. And Kandi's like, I am not, Kandi's still upset. Kandi, I think we're good. And Kandi's like, because she doesn't want to be called a liar. And you're questioning my character, and I can understand that. Courtney comes out here, and this is where I get a little annoyed here with this Courtney thing, because there's zero possibility in my entire life that I would be comfortable with confiding in a man, one of my good friends, like even see, this is hard to even say, because even my really good close friends that I've known since college, I wouldn't be comfortable with them doing what Courtney is doing. So to have somebody who's like, you quote unquote is family, that you quote unquote just met, but you're not family anyway. Now, what I don't understand about this whole we are family, but and then she gives this connection. And then of course Andy's like, this is a pretty weak connection. But what I don't like about this is, how are you this close where you would sleep at a mutual grandmother or some mutual relative when y'all were growing up, and y'all slept at the same house? Did this make sense? Maybe I need to, nope, I'm not going to go back and rehear it. But when I heard it, I was like, wait a second, how can you say this, that you guys were all sleeping in the same, like you've had proximity to each other and being in the same house, and then you claim that you've never met? Like, the math ain't math. And in my opinion, there is no way that I am writing hard for somebody like this in the midst of jumping into a relationship, into somebody else's marriage. My best friend, he doesn't watch my show. He doesn't watch this channel. So I feel very comfortable to say, when him and a person that he was dating, when we were in college, and I think it lasted beyond our college years too. So it was in college and the year after college, and I was not in school. I had a gap year after I left college. He was in his master's program and he was still dating this chick. It's not that I didn't like her. She was my sorority sister. I didn't dislike her, but within a month or two of them dating, now I must admit that I didn't know that he was dating her. So I was dating, but at the time, him and I were so close that if I needed something, he dropped everything and come to me. If he needed something, I drop everything and go to him. So it was a pretty fair trade. The issue that I had, well, I didn't have an issue. I didn't know about her. He never told me about her. And so when we had an end of the year he had it in his fraternity, had an end of the year party. I went, I invited somebody else. We all had um my date was a guy from high school. I thought he was pretty cool. He turned out he wasn't all that cool. We are friends somewhat. We don't talk. And that was the first and the last time we actually spoke in person. Um, and he came over and he danced with me because my date wouldn't dance with me. And I still wasn't, I look, I, because him and I never crossed any lines. So I didn't think anything of it. But it was one day out of the blue, he's like, look, my girl feels that there's something here between us in the fact that I drop everything for you. Like he wanted to put boundaries. And I was like, oh, I can respect the boundaries. And then we had a party at his dad's house, and it was a New Year's party. I left because I don't like, I left about an hour before New Year's Eve because I like to be home in bed. Well, it doesn't have to be in bed, but I like to be home before the clock strikes 12 because people are crazy. So I get home the next day, come over to his house. Everything's cool. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like something was off. I was like, okay, run me down what's going on. This chick cheated on him in his dad's house. They were hosting the party together. And this chick cheated on him in his dad's house with some of her other chapter sorority sisters. And I was like, okay. I didn't like her, but now I really didn't. I mean, I didn't dislike, like I said, I didn't dislike her, but something was off with her. I thought that she was, no shade, unattractive, but I don't want to blame, you can't help that. But I didn't seem to care for the way that she moved. And I didn't know her enough, so I didn't want to say anything. But once she did that, I was like, oh, now I got a beef. Like, how low and grimy is this? So I asked him, I was like, well, there's a couple things I didn't like about it from the first thing. I thought that she was being inconsiderate when it comes to how she wasn't meeting him halfway in a number of things. So that was my thing. But I was like, okay, I don't think that she's the most considerate person, but he didn't listen to me. He had other things going on. I get it. But this additional thing, I was like, oh, line Sean, I don't care. Now, when it came to him putting a parameter around the boundary that we were supposed to have around our relationship, I was like, the boundary is erased because I don't care about her feelings anymore. She didn't care about yours. I don't care about. She didn't care about yours. I don't care about hers. But at the same token, I also am not going to sit here and say dump her. We did that amongst us, me and his other frat brothers, close friends. We all sat around and was like, so when is this chick getting out of his life? So we just knew it was going to happen. We just waited, right? Nobody said anything. Nobody specifically wanted to say to him directly because that's not our business. I say all this to say, even though I felt that I had the justification to jump in his relationship and be like, she ain't it, I wouldn't do that out of respect of his relationship. I was waiting for him to figure it out. It took too long. It took about another year and a half for him to figure out this is a wrap. And then even then, they do the off and on thing. And the last straw, there was a couple of times I was like, I really wanted to say, oh, sir, what are you doing? You can do better than this. But I was like, nope, this is something you have to figure out on your own. Absolutely. This is a you figure this out. Anyway, because and yet and still I would never do a Courtney. I think Courtney is downright wrong. And then when she would make a comment saying that, um, uh, Drew gave her a plum, stupid. But then when Courtney is like, she's a liar, she's cheating, Ralph was so upset that she cheated on him and how she visit Ty at the game and how he has evidence of her cheating right after Portugal. This is when all of this happened. And then we had the release of the private text messages. Sheree pulls out the private text messages. Kandi says that they actually read all of the private messages and they were absolutely incriminating. And I watched the extended cut and they did not read the text messages. Kandi said maybe they'll read the text message on the extended cut. Unfortunately, they did not. I wanted to hear them. Everyone said they were incriminating. And Drew's up here like, well, we talk, we're friends. And everyone's like, yeah, I don't talk to my friends this way. I feel like Drew's at a point like, look, we getting a divorce. I could do what I want to do. And I don't mind that happening. And then she's like, when she made the comment saying, when Drew said, I don't know what Ralph's doing, I was like, oh, she just automatically was like, okay, so this is a wrap. I don't know what he's doing. So it's a wrap in her head. So therefore it's fair game. I can't get mad at that conclusion, but I am mad at Courtney. And the fact that Courtney says that she is a better friend to than what Drew has been as a wife. Ma'am, you just met him 2.2 minutes ago, supposedly, and I swear I paused. I do not think that Courtney has met him just a few minutes ago. I think that Courtney has been around him for a minute, and I think that Courtney has been cheating with Ralph for a minute. Now, she claims that she got divorced in 2020 and everything was finalized in 2020, and that she is having this kind of that she's not necessarily as open to this, really, that she's not open to dating. And maybe she will be, she doesn't know when she's ready to date. And I struggle with that because I feel like of course you struggle to date because you're dating this woman's husband. Because no one's going to ride this hard for somebody that they're not dating, especially at this age. You sound stupid. They did have this whole thing about Sheree waits into confessionals to read people. Why can't you just be upfront and read people in their face? I don't think that that's necessarily fair, but I do think that she does go behind people's back and say things, but all of them do, so I don't really care. Okay, I told you about Sheree and Marlo wanting more tea on Kandi. I showed you that tired newsletter. Courtney, so Drew keeps calling her the unverified cousin. That is a line that is in that Drew's sister has said multiple times in her interview. So I think that's kind of funny that she's just regurgitating lines. Okay, Kandi. Okay, so this is like fast forward to reunion too. Kandi should, talking about not showing up. There was this whole thing about why she keeps doing why is she on the show when a lot of her life she's not really present. And Kandi defended herself a great deal on Speak On It by explaining all the things that she was doing, how Bravo did report some stuff, they chose not to show it, and how she was really, really busy flying here and there, going to be present for people's things when necessary, having this whole thing about Kandi's like, I'm going to keep doing my Speak On It and I'm giving everybody the same kind of energy that they gave me. So she's like, whatever. She just actually came out, I would say, what, yesterday or the day before, with another spoof about Sheree. And as of right now, I'm down with it because this whole it's not a pamphlet. It is a compilation of other people of stuff that they found on the internet, screenshots of other people found on the internet. And with that, it's very generic, it's very lowbrow. And Kandi clearly has a lot more money, resources, and individuals who can really put something together because that she can put spoofs together pretty well. Okay, so Marlo brings up the shooting. I am so this topic I am so annoyed with. Kandi is annoyed. Marlo is talking about how, last time Marlo saying that Phaedra is and Courtney is helping her, and you could tell that that annoyed Kandi because Kandi is the one who was helping Marlo get a show. She was help Marlo get a peach on this show, and how dare you go around and then work with Phaedra? I mean, that's just trash. Okay, so then we have Marlo bring the shooting. Yeah. Marlo's like, she should have done more. And Candy's like, I don't know what more I could have done. You didn't give me the info to send flowers. Instead, you're trying to get me to do a business opportunity and get paid because Candy's the draw, right? So Candy's the draw. So why not hook Kandi into doing this whole another way to get paid? And Kandi wasn't interested. And clearly that's not, saying happy birthdays and doing those little pop-up things, which is interesting. So Drew talks directly. I don't even know. I don't even know why I wrote that down. I know that Kandi does say that she thinks that Marlo is jealous of how things are going well for her. Kandi is like, look, you guys go at me hard about my businesses and whatever goes wrong in my business, and y'all not even going wrong at really hard at Sheree at all. I don't know what. I don't know why I wrote that note about Drew. Anyway, we get Ralph and Drew coming out, and it really was kind of awkward because they're trying to get Drew to be like, so how are you doing? How is it still staying in the house? And do you guys communicate? Kenya's like, look, you got to say something. And then Drew says that the kids don't know that they're getting a divorce. Okay. It's hard for me to believe that, but okay, fine. They know that you guys are not sleeping in the same room together. You probably on opposite sides of the house together. So clearly they know something's up. And somebody should be moving somewhere. Somebody should be packing a bag somewhere. Like, how long do you plan on having this divorce go through? Ralph says that he has always been faithful. Nobody believes that. Drew claims that she is faithful. Ralph is like, yeah, then what about Ty? The assistant, Ralph saying that the assistant told him about her and Ty. Um, uh, she doesn't believe that. She believes that this was Ralph and Mimi coming together. And everyone was like, well, your assistant has talked to such and such. Like, your assistants get around town. She doesn't want to believe that. She's like, you don't know what's going on in my house. So how dare you speak? And they're like, no, they don't know what's going on in your house. However, what they do know is that that your assistant talks. Here we are. Ralph is such a gaslighter. I wrote that down. He's just the coolness of how he speaks to her, making her seem like she's just overly emotional, that she's just a liar. We know that Drew lies, but we also know that Ralph lies too. So Kandi calls to confirm that there was this audition. And in Magic Mike, because Ralph is like, I was there for work. I was not there to audition for Magic Mike. Then he turns around and is like, well, I was already in Vegas. it just made it, Drew's making it seem as if I was there just to audition for Magic Mike when she knows I was there for business. Sir, Drew doesn't know what you do for a living. I'm just putting it out there. I don't know how you're with someone and you don't understand what they do for a living and just be like they're in tech. How is that possible? Like, do you not come up? I can't understand it. Well, you gonna help me understand it like I'm a 2-year-old. Because I just don't believe that you, I don't understand. Because to me, it shows your lack of real genuine interest in your spouse if you can't understand what they do for a living. But to each his own. And I put in my notes after watching this exchange, I could go back and forth on the Ralph and Drew thing. I think it's ridiculous. He's ever talking about how much he loves her, how much he respected her. And Andy's like, well, it didn't translate. And it doesn't. You have been, sir, you have been so disrespectful talking about I should have gave you a what do you call it? A Lunchable and left her sitting there. Like she's talking, she runs off stage and then she's like, well, I don't want to tell what really happened. And her sister's like, well, talk about the PI. Like, you have evidence. She's up here bringing up pictures of some chick sending pictures of her butt and talking about, I want your lower regions. That does sound incriminating. But they made a comment like, oh, we don't see a response to that. But I am going to say this. I am on WhatsApp. And on my WhatsApp, you get unsolicited messages from people. And I don't understand how they get my number when it comes to unsolicited messages. It's just like AOL Instant Messenger in your spam. Your AOL Instant Messenger in spam is atrocious when it comes to sexual content. Like, it is, I do not like to go into my spam on AOL. I mean, I occasionally check. I still have my email from AOL and I occasionally check it. I use my Gmail most of the time. But the point is that it has always, in Yahoo, I don't use my Yahoo anymore. I'm sure I haven't used my Yahoo in like 30 years. It hasn't been that long. It's been like 20, no, about 20, maybe like 19, 18 years I haven't used my Yahoo email. So it's probably gone. But Yahoo email was worse than AOL Instant Messenger, but AOL. So I can understand if you get unsolicited text messages, and like I said, WhatsApp is the worst. I've gotten some inappropriate text messages, and I promptly delete and block because I don't want to see that. So I can somewhat get that, but if it's just a regular text message, I've never gotten a regular text message from something that's unsolicited. So I have unsolicited by spam, but nothing sexual. So I don't know. Now, I'm sure if it's a DM, I'm sure that's the case. I've never got a DM like that, but I'm not famous. But like I said, there's this back and forth. We can keep going with the back and forth, but all I saw was, I think we're getting played. The only thing that brings me a hesitation for this is Courtney. I still think that Courtney is sleeping with Ralph, but I think that as a whole, Drew does this song. I really want her to work with Kandi, but I'm sure that Candy's probably like, I ain't writing not near nobody a song after what happened with me with Tardy for the Party. But I think that I think Kandi in her time she doesn't have time, but I think that Kandi could produce a song, produce a record or produce her album. And I think it would be a fire album, giving Drew a chance. But Drew, you're gonna have to do better in order to get her to co-sign. I'm putting that energy out there in the atmosphere. Kandi, take 10 deep breaths and produce a true album and put her on as an opener on your tour. It'd be great. It'd be better than your Tamar. It'd be great. And after this awkward ass song that she did, and that her dress had this weird little bundle, it was horrible. I didn't like Drew dress. The midsection was horrible. Anyway, this awkward breakup song. And then he says Drew is an incredible talent. Who says that? Do I say that about my husband does a song in front of me and I'm like, that is awesome. My husband is an incredible, I say incredible talent. He is incredibly talented. I wouldn't call my husband a talent. I don't get this relationship. I think that Drew was right to hand Ralph a peach. Ralph wants to be in the spotlight and he wants the relationship of what it means to be with Drew. He doesn't want Drew. The question is, will Drew be strong enough to finish the divorce? That's the $1 million question. And clearly she's not at that point because she's refusing to leave this house. And he's refusing to leave this house. So we just stay in this house miserable together. But when you're really ready to go, you know what you do? You chuck the deuces. That's what you do. I give you the deuces. I'm going to chuck the deuces to you. You do you. I do me. I'm leaving. And she's not ready to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's no divorce. And we've been played. They want to be in this miserable, horrible relationship together. And the rest of us have to endure another season of this horrible, ridiculous relationship. By the way, I don't know if I'm doing another season. I think this may be a one shot. And but I am going to do Salt Lake City. And I'm going to watch Salt Lake City tomorrow. I am going to put my review on Salt Lake City up. I am going to finally do my Love and Marriage Detroit second reunion. And Love and Marriage Salt Lake City is just too ridiculous to pass up. And on that note,